Every 4 years, we're reminded that voting is the most sacred act of American democracy. Campaigns turn into Super Bowl events, flags, slogans, celebrity endorsements, debates that feel like reality shows. But what happens when the entire thing is just theater?
My opponent asks her supporters to recite a 3-word loyalty pledge.
American politics has evolved not to represent the people, but to perform for them. And in that performance, a lot gets lost. Accountability, honesty, even reality. Politicians speak in branded catchphrases and often gets pushed with the help of influential mouthpieces. Red versus blue becomes the dominant story arc. Capable news covers it like a drama because that's what keeps people watching. Fear, conflict, outrage. That's good for ratings, but it's bad for the truth. And here's where the hypocrisy starts. We're told that we live in a democracy, but the decisions that shape our lives, from who gets healthcare to who gets bombed, are often made behind closed doors, negotiated by a lobbyist and rubber stamped by the same people we're supposed to trust, while even they themselves having questionable histories. The system sells us an illusion of choice, while quietly ensuring that very little actually changes. Some examples. Joe Biden promised student debt relief. Donald Trump promised to drain the swamp. Barack Obama promised hope and change. Each one promised disruption, and each one ultimately protected the status quo. Because the problem isn't that politicians lie, it's the system incentivizing lying, covering it up, and then punishing those who speak the truth. Can you guess the average cost of a Senate campaign in 2024? Over $16 million. Now, mind you, the 2024 federal election overall cost a record-breaking $16.7 billion. That's not democracy. That's pay to play. So when a candidate wins, whose calls do you think they're returning first? Yours or the people who wrote the checks? Politics in America has become a subscription service for the powerful, and the rest of us are just sitting here watching the added support version. Freedom is the word America can never shut up about. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom from tyranny. But like most slogans in American politics, freedom is more about marketing than meaning. Because in reality, American freedom comes with the fine print. We call ourselves the freest country in the world, but lead it in incarcerations over 1.9 million people, to be exact. People who are locked up disproportionately black, brown, and poor. How free are you when police can kill you in your sleep like Breonna Taylor, or feel the need to raid your home over a communication issue causing the Ruby Ridge standoff? How free are you when your digital footprint is constantly monitored by both companies and government? We love to lecture the world about human rights while justifying mass surveillance at home. An example, in 2023, Edward Snowden, an NSA whistleblower, exposed the NSA was secretly collecting data on millions of Americans without warrants, without oversight, and without most of us having any clue. 12 years later, their surveillance programs are still there, just better hidden and better funded. Politicians scream about freedom when asked to wear a mask, but stay silent when people are gunned down by police. They say, let the people decide. Unless those people are in Georgia, Texas, or Florida, where voter suppression is law by another name. Or this age, if you're an immigrant, here legally, because an American freedom isn't guaranteed, it's controlled. Here's a wild stat. In 2023, Washington, D.C. had over 12,000 registered federal lobbyists. By 2024, lobbying spending reached a record $4.3 billion, which works out to more than 22 lobbyists for every single Congress member. Tech giants lobby to stall AI regulations. Pharma spends hundreds of millions to block drug price caps beyond insulin. Fossil fuel companies cash in subsidies while the planet breaks heat records. Again, all of them spending tens of hundreds of millions every year, making sure their priorities are heard louder than yours, paying to be heard. In 2022, the pharmaceutical industry alone spent over $373 million on lobbying. We're told healthcare is too expensive, but it's really just not profitable for those in power. We're told universal child care is too radical, but tax breaks for billionaires are bipartisan. But don't worry, in America, this isn't corruption. It's the business model. Every war is about freedom. Every drone strike is about security. Every coup we back and fund, it's about democracy. Since World War II, the U.S. has engaged in at least 81 foreign interventions: Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Chile, Libya, Yemen, Ukraine, Gaza, and more. Billions flow to defend abroad while housing, healthcare, and education at home are slowly becoming unaffordable luxuries. We say we fight to defend freedom, but somehow the places we touch are often left more unstable than before. Civilian casualties, power vacuums, refugee crisis. We bring the war and then walk away from the wreckage. And the hypocrisy, it's in who we call friends and who we call terrorists. Saudi Arabia, who apparently murdered a journalist and dismembered, and also imprisoned dissidents and bombed civilians in Yemen, but we sell them billions in weapons because they are strategic allies. Meanwhile, we blacklist entire nations for less. Israel receives over $3.8 billion a year in U.S. military aid despite allegations of apartheid by human rights groups like Amnesty International. But when anyone calls it out, they're smeared as anti-American or worse. It's not about morality, it's about control. 750 plus U.S. military bases worldwide don't look like leadership. They look like empire. Look like an empire with the PR. Like what? We fund war and call it defense. We install dictators and call it stability. We drop bombs and call it peacekeeping. And yet every election cycle, politicians promise to end the forever war. And every administration, red or blue, keeps funding them anyways. So when America says it's fighting for freedom, ask yourself, freedom for who and at whose expense? We say the system is broken, corrupt even, dysfunctional, but it's not broken. It's just working for oil companies who write energy policies, for hedge funds that crash the economy and get bailouts, for billionaires who pour money into elections and drown out actual voters. This isn't a glitch. This is the default setting. Every time a bill dies in committee, every time voting rights get chipped away, every time a crisis gets turned into a campaign slogan, the people in power aren't losing, they're stalling, delaying, performing. And we've been taught to accept it, to pick sides, to vote and wait, to believe that our only choice are bad or worse, that if nothing changes, it's our fault for not voting harder. But let's be honest. When lobbyists have more access than citizens, when billionaires can buy political outcomes, when the truth gets buried under branding, voting alone isn't enough. Hope alone isn't enough. Because politics isn't supposed to be a spectacle, it's supposed to be a tool, one that serves the people, not power. And maybe that's the real American dream, that one day we'll stop mistaking the show for the system, that we'll stop mistaking slogans for solutions. And when that day comes, if it comes, it won't be because a politician saved us. It'll be because we stopped playing along. William Edwards Deming, an American business theorist and writer, said every system is perfectly designed to get the results it gets. Maybe with this, we can wake up from the hypocrisy of American freedom. Thank you for listening. My name is Prince, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and always remember, you matter.